Scarpins Avenue.
Hey everybody, Sklar Brothers here for the Sklar Bro Country Virus Edition, a.k.a. the Pandy Pods, a.k.a. the Basement Takes, a.k.a.
Two Guys, One Couch.
a.k.a. Two Guys, One Couch. If you have other names for what you think this is or what you think this should be called, send them our way. We're at Sklar Brothers. Tweet at us or...
This podcast we called Who Needs to Go.
That's right. Who Needs to Go? That's the other one. You're gone. Yeah, it could be you're gone.
You're gone.
You're gone. You're gone. If you're still gathering at a church,
You're gone.
you're out. Today, if you decide to go on a cruise last week, I'm sorry.
gone.
You're probably going to be gone anyway, but I'm just going to say you're gone.
You're gone now.
Boris Johnson, you're gone. So, like we said, we're going to lose people. We lost a great person, a great friend of ours. We got to just start this thing off. We're going to dedicate this podcast and this episode to our buddy Vic Henley, great comic, 57 years old, passed away yesterday, I believe. Not of corona-related things. I'm not sure.
It was a pulmonary embolism. It was a blood clot in his lungs. We don't know if it's corona-related,
but he's one of our favorite people, one of the nicest people as we sort of, our years in the 90s, as we got up to speed around 97, 98, after we did Apartment 2F, we started to do the circuit of clubs in New York. And this was our weekends. We would book two clubs, the early and the late shows at both clubs. And we'd do the early spots at one, then take the subway down. So if it was Stand Up New York on the Upper West Side, we would do an early spot, then go down to Gotham Comedy Club and do an early show there, then come back up to Stand Up New York, do the late show, then go back down to Gotham, maybe do an alternative show like a Moonwork or something on a Saturday night. Something like that, and then we would then go back. So, and then at midnight, we would meet up with our friends wherever they were out in New York. It was a fascinating and wonderful time, and you'd see and we'd go up to the comic strip, maybe go down to
Caroline's,
Catch a Rising Star. We kind of hit them all when we were working. I'd say 97, 98, and 99. We really kind of did that for a couple of years, and that was every weekend for us. And you would see the same group of
comics at different clubs.
Right. Vic Henley was one of them, was one of the nicest, best dudes we ever met.
So he was a Southern guy in New York City. So he sort of had that, I think he even coined it City Billy. And so he had this, he was always sweet. He always was sneaky smart in his material.
You wouldn't expect it. It's kind of the same way why we love the well-read guys in that same vein. Just love them.
He will lull you into a sense of,
this guy doesn't know it, and then boom, he hits you with just funny. He hit you with funny stuff.
And the biggest compliment he gave to us was we had an old bit called Chopper 4, which was probably our first sort of big bit that hit for us.
Did it on the Comedy Central half hour, first one that aired in 2001, and we did it on Conan, in 99.
And he I remember came to us one time and made a point to come tell us this, which to me, the generosity in his decision to share this with us tells you everything you needed to know about him as a person. He came to us and he said, "Guys, I'll give you the biggest compliment, the highest compliment I can pay you." So already,
it's such a nice thing. Things that comics don't do for each other.
An older guy who's 10 years our senior, who's been in this New York scene longer than we have, who's been doing it since the 80s, comes to you, someone you see in shows who you love, who you think is a good comic, says, "I got something I want to tell you that's going to make you guys happy. It's the highest compliment I can pay. We have a comics poker game."
So he and Eddie Brill, another guy who we loved. Eddie Brill was one of the comics who helped book the comedians on the Letterman show. So it was him and Eddie Brill and a handful of other people that
booked it. And so he said, "We have a poker game, and when someone wins the pot, they take the pot back, and as they're taking the pot with them, they're like, 'A chopper 4.'" So they were honoring our bit.
Yeah, creatively when we weren't even there. It was like he didn't even have to tell us that. It was so sweet. It made us so happy. It was like a respect thing, and it was really cool. So
he will be missed. The world of comedy is
mourning. And we're going to do you proud right now, Vic. So a chopper 4 to you wherever you are, and let's get into it. This podcast is all about, our buddy, shout out to our friend Zach Martina, great comic in Ann Arbor, Michigan, who just texted us and said, "Thanks for doing this," because
this is an escape. This is our chance to either highlight some bizarre behavior by people throughout this time to
just make fun of what's going on, and that's what we're going to do. And let's jump into it right now. Okay. So people are sheltering in place unless you're, we'll get to that, unless you're at a church or a car wash in Memphis. We'll talk about that later. And after you've watched Tiger King twice on Netflix,
you're stuck.
Even people who are in horrible relationships are going to start having sex. That's just what it is.
What else are you going to do?
Read? You should be reading.
You definitely
I have to start reading, and this is a recommendation made to me, Fleischman is in Trouble. I heard that's supposed to be an unbelievable book, so I'm going to throw that out there to people. If you've read it, text us and let us know, or just tweet at us and let us know what you think about it. So people shelter in place.
Yes.
With the ferocity of great hand washing. That's pretty much the way
people are going at it.
With the ferocity of good hand washing. It lasts for about
not
20
people with kids. Those people are not going at it.
It lasts for 20 seconds. You got to dry off afterwards. This is what it is.
You sing a song to yourself twice, and you're like, "Am I done yet?"
Sing "Happy Birthday" twice. You should be done. Problem is, there is going to be a condom shortage. I don't know if you heard this.
I did hear this.
It's looming like your boyfriend during cohabitation. It's looming. So without proper protection, you just know a lot of relationships in 9 to 10 months are going to get bumped up to the next level.
Like this boyfriend you have or this girlfriend you have is suddenly going to become a life partner.
So now I'm going to project 10 years from now and say, you know who's thanking, if there is a world 10 years from now, I'm going to project into the future. You know who's thanking the condom industry for lacking right now? Therapy.
Yes.
Therapists are saying if you are a kid who wants to get into therapy, get into marriage therapy now. Because in the 10 years, your business is going to be booming. Because a lot of people who have kids, that we can make it happen. We did it. We had a
then
Corona baby.
Long after Corona.
Nope. You're going to realize
you're stuck with the reality that you made a person with this other person. And by the way,
it's not like making an angel food cake that you've never made.
No, but
before.
you referenced Tiger King. That's it is such a prescient touchstone for this story, because I thought about this a lot when I was reading this. I'm like, when you see a little baby tiger cub, you're like,
you love it. Oh my God, I'm gonna get that. Put it in a suitcase, bring it to Vegas.
I want to play with that.
Goddamn Carol Baskin.
You try to keep me from having my tigers. So you want to take that tiger, you want to play with it because it's a really cute little tiny, it makes that noise, right? Then it starts to grow.
Yeah.
And it keeps growing.
Then it outgrows what you have.
What you're capable of caring for it in. Then it's a problem because it's eating more than you can pay for.
That's right.
That's a large teenager.
It's costing more than what you can handle. College is like, we can't do this.
I don't know how
I need a loan. Maybe I need to run for governor. This is what's happening here.
Or I need a second job or a third job, and all because, I was like, what else are we going to do during COVID-19?
Exactly.
Right?
This is the time to get sort of on the ground floor of internet porn, if you want.
2038, the class of 2042
is going to be straight up just COVID-like folks.
COVID babes.
COVID babies.
COVID babies.
So that's what I would say. If you were into internet porn, now is your time to step forward and say, we will save you. We are human abstinence right here, and we're going to save it for you right now.
Turn to us instead of the real thing so you don't have a mistake on your hands once we come out of this thing. Or it's like the scene in Almost Famous when the plane's going down. Mm-hmm. It's like, don't shout everything until you know it's really
going down. Right. Or
don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Or don't make the baby that you have to throw out with the bathwater, and then you're not making that decision.
Don't make the baby that you have to even draw a bath for.
That's right.
Is what we're saying.
Don't make the baby, throw the bathwater out, and this is it. But we're not saying don't have human contact with the people that you are
and look,
quarantined with.
If you were on the path to having a baby, shout out to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law. They're on their way to having a baby.
Have that baby.
They're going to have a baby in this time, and I think it'll probably in many ways work out for them because they will be forced to be home and around and focused on that baby, and they're not going to miss those beginning months where you're sort of stuck between your life and your other.
To our buddy Mike Blyden, who's a fantastic director, he's getting to spend time with his son now, his baby, and in ways that are, normally he'd be out shooting, directing, a show and working on that, but now he gets his time, so it's good. But I'm just going to say this: if you're a small condom company, why does it just have to be Trojan?
Step your game up.
This is your chance. Trojan, move the F over, because here comes Jeff's Jimmy Hats.
Jeff's Jimmy Hats is pretty good.
Jeff's Jimmy. Why aren't we? I'm going to mail that idea to myself.
Yes.
Jeff's Jimmy Hats. Come on. Rawlings presents the Love Glove.
If Rawlings came out with the Love Glove that you had to oil, that was reusable, that was made out of leather.
Slide it under your, like work it in a little bit. Slide them under your mattress.
I'm currently oiling my son's new baseball glove.
How about Gary Payton's members only glove? That
member
Love
glove.
Members
glove.
only member glove.
There you go.
Members only and Gary Payton team up together to form a condom that you can wear over and over. It fits you like a glove. Is the perfect defense against anything.
It has little epaulets on the side.
Members only member glove. Gary Payton. You're welcome. This is like scab football to the NFL. Remember when the scabs came? They crossed the picket line. It's all right, we're still going to have football. We know the action's still going to happen, but let's at least get someone in there who can do something. This is your chance to step up. You've been bagging groceries. You think you still got it. Reach back into your glory days. Jeff's Jimmy Hats.
Jeff's Jimmy Hats. Step your game up.
Step your game up.
Look.
You know how GM and Ford are now
making ventilators.
Their plants are making ventilators.
Yes.
Maybe this is what we do. We take companies that make that usually make rubber things and make rubber, like rubber gloves or galoshes or tires. Michelin tires.
Michelin.
It's wartime, yo. It's wartime.
What if the Morton Salt people even just took the outfit of the guy for the Morton Salt thing? Turn that into 25 condoms.
Do that. Here's the crazy thing. I'm assuming that teenage sex is going down.
Yes, because they don't have spaces
they can't be
to hide.
Like parents know where their kids
Teenage
are.
sex happens under the cover of darkness.
That's right.
And in places where you cannot be found.
People are going to say, and they're going to be like, I remember the great condom shortage of 2020. Remember the great condom shortage in the early 20s? It was a global pandemic.
Yeah, it's the potato famine of our time.
It really was the potato famine of our time.
It's like, what else are you going to eat? You got to find something else.
You got to find something else. Let's take a break.
Yes.
Shall we take a break?
Let's take a break. On our way into the break, we
got a voicemail from our friend, longtime friend. He's one of our favorite people in the comedy business, Matt Besser, original member of the Upright Citizens Brigade. Fantastic on that show. Everything he's done, we've used him in every single thing, every project we've ever done.
He's one of the best improvisers, and he has an amazing new podcast
called Smoke Me Up.
Smoke Me Up, Matt Besser.
If you're someone who right now is getting through what you're getting through by at least taking the edge off, this is the guy. He's going to tell you about strains of pot that
they're going to review strains. They're going to talk to people who own their own pot dispensaries. They're going to talk to experts in the field.
It is an amazing podcast.
And then there's improvisation and comedy, and there's all this great stuff. He'll tell you all about it. Voicemail from Matt Besser. When we come back on the other side of this break, we got more stories and more things to talk about. This is Sklar Country,
the Virus Edition, a.k.a. the Panty Pods, a.k.a. the Basement Takes. 2 guys, 1 couch. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
Sklar Brothers, Matt Besser here. We got that new podcast, Smoke Me Up, coming. John Gabris, Horatio Sands, they're co-hosting with me. You guys know that because you shepherded this whole thing, and I thank you for that. And how bizarre that right when we're going to launch, this whole shitstorm happens, and we have 8 episodes in the can that were recorded before the shitstorm of the virus, and you'll hear these guys smoking together with this cavalier attitude, like they're not observing the safe at home and social distancing. But it was recorded before all that. Everyone should know that. I think we'll also have to mix it with some new episodes in this new reality. But do you guys even get high, Sklar Brothers? You don't have to listen to the podcast, because we're basically just fucking around having fun. But I guess in these new times, there's going to be a lot of podcasts listening. And if you're a weed connoisseur or a comedy connoisseur, I would check out Smoke Me Up. But I'm curious if the Sklar Brothers are smoking up. And when you're hunkered down with your family, that's a whole new ball game. Let's say. But keep safe, everybody, and do check out Smoke Me Up, the new podcast on Starburns.
You gotta let the jello say. And he said, you gotta let the jello say.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Definitely subscribe, rate, and review this podcast if you can. That would be a fantastic thing. Keeps us kind of up in the old on the charts, as it were,
and lets other people know about this show.
That's right. We want to try and let as many people as we know about this show. We're putting together a new YouTube page. We should let people know.
Yes, that is
should
in the
be
works.
up now or soon.
Yeah,
should be up by the end of this week. We were looking at it and it looks really good. It's got all these episodes in it. They're putting together all the cheap seats episodes from ESPN that we're going to put together.
You're going to want to subscribe to it because when we come out of this and we can start making new versions of cheap seats, that's where that's going to land. So a ton of great stuff is going to end up on this page.
Just subscribe to it and all the good new stuff will be dropping on there and it'll let you know when it is. So we'll let you know where that is and where you can find that stuff.
Probably fully stocked or getting there by the beginning of next week.
Yeah, or beginning of next week sometime. Okay, so want to talk about
Did you say or beginning of next week?
Or beginning of next week. Or end of next week.
I said beginning of next week.
I said
and you said
beginning of next week.
I said beginning of next week and you said or beginning of next week, which tells you how little Randy listens to me.
Or the fact that I'm not listening to you. All right. A Memphis, Tennessee car wash has been ordered to close by the mayor of Memphis.
So the mayor had to step in. This is like when the cops have to step in on a domestic dispute.
Yeah.
If you need the mayor
between two
in,
brothers.
If you need the mayor to step in and tell you shut it down.
Yep.
You don't hear the warning signs.
Because they stayed open. Yeah. Because people need to have their cars washed right now. That's essential.
How many washes were they doing a day? How many
car washes are, in my opinion, like in the list of non-essential businesses right now. Let's try and stratify where car washes are in that. I mean, we obviously know where they are for Marvin Harrison, former Indianapolis Colt. That's the place where you store your Civil War rifle, okay, in a bucket at your thing.
Pistol,
So it needs to stay open so you can store all
somewhere
your
to
antique weaponry. You can store it in there, okay? Right. Car wash is below, in my opinion. A cycle bar should be open before that. Shout out to our cousin Cycle Bar out in Culver City and in Santa Monica.
Steph Sklar.
Okay?
Yes.
Massage parlor should be open before. These are people touching each other before a car. That's more essential.
I would put a color me mine.
Dentist's office, and I'll throw a Dave and Buster's on that.
Well, Dave and Buster's is great. Dave and Buster's is just great.
Dave and Buster's is adult Chuck E. Cheese. Am I right?
It's adult Chuck E. Cheese.
Like there's a point where you're drunk enough to get caught in something at a Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, and it's when I tell you it's loud in a way that like makes you feel like an old person.
Oh yeah, it's so loud.
So loud. You're just like,
can we please turn this down?
This doesn't. There's like moments where you're like, it doesn't need to be as loud
as it is,
and then you feel old for saying that.
Car washes below that, and that's not just because Lenny Dykstra owns a bunch of them.
Does he still own them? I don't even know if
and
he
like
does.
Everything else in his life, it's going to go bankrupt if he does.
Yeah.
Like his private jet upkeep, his magazine that was only for high-paid athletes
that taught them how to manage their money. Ooh, that went under.
His cocaine addiction
that went
caused
under.
him to go under. His steroid addiction, all those things.
His didn't he have like a mouth guard that he many $1,000 mouth guard that he actually threw away in a dumpster at Jersey Mike's?
Exotic zoos, and you know how much we hate exotic. If you've listened to us on Dumb People Town or watched us as we watched the Tiger King
episodes, we don't believe that private personal zoos should exist. We barely believe that zoos should exist.
I feel like they should be reopened before car washes.
Yes,
right. They're more essential.
So this Memphis car wash is like we staying open.
So the mayor of Memphis had to hold a televised meeting. Or televised conference to just be like
teleconference.
Hey. No, it was a televised thing.
Televised.
Like he had to say, "We can't do this. You gotta shut it down." And they weren't listening.
Let me appeal to the public and beg them to tell you to turn this off.
Hey, I've got a novel idea, Jay. This is a crazy idea. Here's a great way that you can get your car washed in the time of a pandemic. Turn on your hose and wash your own car.
That's what you got to do.
You need a little bit of soap in a bucket. Look, you're washing your hands at the same time. Get a big sponge. If you don't have a big sponge, just get a rag.
Who doesn't have that time?
Get a towel. You have time to wash it if you have to have your car washed right now.
If you there was a woman who we lived across the street from.
Oh my God.
Our first house here in Los Angeles. And this woman, Susan, she had...
how old were we? We were 27,
28. This is around 99, 2000, 2000.
Mm-hmm.
This woman
Washed her car.
She had like a 1988 or 1992
It
Saab.
was like a 92 Saab convertible.
So it was about
Maroon.
8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She washed that car so much. It felt like she was, every day, it felt like she was watering the car in hopes of it growing into a better, newer car.
That's right.
That's
it's
how
never going to
often she
happen. It's never going to happen.
No matter how much
And
care
she was
you give this car.
also someone who seemed very, very tightly wound.
Yes.
A very tightly wound human being who worked out a lot,
but who also didn't ever seem to have a moment of fun in their life. So
like the expression on her face was this.
Like she had just
Not
seen
happy.
something disappointing. But so
Like
if
somebody was always disappointing her, and I'm going to say it was her car.
if
Get a new car.
you
Don't stop
have
watering.
to wash your car every single day or even once during this pandemic, there is something wrong with you, and that's okay.
So
Just
she
admit it.
So she washed the car. We should tell this story. So she washed the car all the time. And we're like, if there is a drought in LA, which then there was in California, let's
the reason.
start with her water bill and work backwards from there.
You're the reason.
So she watered the car all the time. And then Jay and I, and along with our buddy Eric Friedman, decided to have a big party. We invited not 100 people to this party because we had been living in New York and we had a tiny 3-bedroom apartment. I think we had one party in there. That was the roll apartment.
Yeah,
and we just
we
didn't
could
want anyone to
fit
roll
like
on.
30 people in there. That
We
was the
probably
tough.
fit like 20 people in that apartment, and that was it. So we're like, we're inviting 100 people to this party. It
And
was
no way 100 people are going to show. I think like 80 people showed up.
so many people showed up, but we went around to all of our neighbors and invited them. The old couple who was like in their 80s. You guys want to come over? Please come over. If it's too loud, just come talk to
Our
us.
invitation to people who didn't belong in the party was code for please do not call the cops.
Yeah. We
Come-
don't want you here, but if you
just-
have a problem, come over and talk to us, and we'll turn it down. Like speak to us beforehand, and we're totally. Cool
We
with
were
that.
basically saying, if you have a problem, we'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ
revolves it, and we did. So this is how long ago? It was 99, right?
99, 2000.
So we were making tapes out of
Mixed
cassette tapes off the CDs we had. And we had a record player too. But we were making, remember we had the record? We had the Warren G record. Remember we had that?
did?
Yes. But we were making mixed tapes off of the CDs so that we could play them during the party.
And we had auto reverse. So if you just put it in, you got two sides of a tape.
90 minutes of
90
music,
minutes
of
of music.
party music. And we were
Make 4 mixes and you're done for the whole party.
blasting it out. This is what we were doing the day of, okay? And getting liquor and getting ready. We were getting ready for a throwdown of epic proportions.
Just even talking about it feels like we're talking about
feels like it's going to happen tonight. I'm very excited.
It feels like a different century. Oh, it was a different century.
It was a different century. It was 99.
Yeah.
So
That's like when my son said to me, I'm like, you want to watch this movie? We should watch the original Jumanji. And he's like, Dad, that's from the 1900s.
he's right. He's right.
And that hurt, like that
It's
hurts
true.
my
He's
soul.
not wrong. So we call and I saw our friend so we invited everybody, comics, friends of ours, just everybody in the comedy scene, and whatnot. And so we invited our friend Lisa Delarios, great comic from Austin. And she's just a fun person that we gag around. Every time I see her, I just gag around with her.
So she was in LA. She moved to Austin. She's back in LA now. I think she's doing a comedy show with Andrea Rosen, which is a really great show.
She was like, so we called and left a message and asked her. All right, anyway, so we're music blasting in our place. We're making the mixtape.
Phone rings.
Jay
I pick it
answers.
up in the front room,
Right.
landline, and just like, hi, it's Susan from across the street.
And then I pick it up in the bedroom and I'm like, hello.
So Jay knows that it's
Randy,
Susan. And she's like, hi. She says hi again, but she doesn't reintroduce herself.
and then I say, hey,
What's going on? And she's like,
in a way that
the way Randy said hey made me realize that he doesn't quite know who this is. And then Susan said, so you guys are having this party tonight?
and
Randy
I said, do you know how to
do you need directions on how to get here? So at that
Thinking
point,
it's Lisa
I knew
Delarios.
because he thought it was Lisa Delarios. At that point, I knew he did not know that it was Susan from across
So
the street.
Jay could have stepped in
I
and
could
helped
have,
me out.
in that moment, stepped in and been like, hey, Randy, it's Susan from across the street. So she has a question about.
Could have done that. Could have easily
Instead,
done.
I thought it would be funny to not say anything.
Right. So she said, and music is just playing. It's so loud. She said, is it okay for me to bring a couple of friends to the party?
Now, before I can answer, Randy chirps in.
Sure, the more pussy, the better.
This is not something you say to
A 49-year-old woman living
who
across
waters her
car
sob on
every day.
daily basis.
She was like, okay. And then she hung up. And I'm like, great, she's coming. It's gonna
And
be
I
awesome.
went back to Randy's room where the music was loud, and I was like, that was not
Lisa Delirious. That was Susan from across the street. I was like, why didn't you stop me?
I was like, because it's kind of funny, the hole you dug.
So-
And Randy was like, is it going to be funny when she calls the cops
on us because she hates us?
I also am coming off like misogynist in the story, and I'm like,
Terrible. I
Randy's
was
like, I was doing a joke for my friend saying
It's
the
something
thing.
I would say to her, and she would make fun back to me about the. Oh God!
Like
it was
out of context, that is a horrible thing.
terrible
to say.
thing to say to a person. But
And-
if it's someone that you know, and you have that type of relationship where you could say stuff like that to them, it's actually funny. And comedians say a bunch of stuff to each other. Whatever.
So we do the party. It's a great party. Cops do not break it up.
Thank God. We come in the next day.
We're walking down the street to
We're
get
walking to go
bread.
get breakfast, and she's out
there.
watering her car, of course. And then I walk over to apologize, which I probably should have just left it alone.
I
but
was like, eat breakfast first before
I
you
walk
apologize.
over on an empty stomach. I'm hungover, and I said, Susan, I'm so sorry about what I said yesterday.
And we have to stand off on the side.
I thought you were my friend,
I was-
Lisa. You clearly are not my friend, Lisa. And we have the type of relationship, friends. Friends when they have the type of relationship where they
he
can
was
say
trying to
anything,
explain to this woman what it was like
to
be
have a friend relationship, and she's just still watering her car.
He's like mansplaining
I'm
friendship.
just digging like
And
a deeper
also-
hole into the sob glove compartment.
And she just kept watering that
and,
car.
and she kept watering that car and watering that car. And then for the rest of the time, anytime I saw her out there, which she was out there a lot
All the time.
I had to walk out through the back of our house and go jump a fence to go anywhere.
He went the other way and would park the car down the street so he could get into it on a side street.
It was terrible. It was horrific. So that's
the setup. That's what talking about a car wash made me think. If you need to wash your car, do it at home. But if you're a car wash that the mayor of Memphis is saying,
having them single you out and tell you to shut down your business is just, it's garbage. So here's what they said. You couldn't handle it internally. He said the car wash did not listen and is still not listening. Like they're still, what are they, a 3-year-old? Jesus. What is it run by 3-year-olds? They're drawing on the walls.
I can't stop them.
They crap their pants.
Look,
did you give the car wash a nap? I tried.
Did you
They
give
didn't
them a
want to.
spritz of melatonin so they can go to sleep?
No.
She's got to be spritzed.
So Mayor Strickland said that 140 businesses have been reported for violating his order. 134 were called, and all but one complied. One being the car. One out of 134.
They
is
think they're
bad.
so essential right
That's
now.
right. That's right.
You're not cleaning coronavirus off of people.
So it made
You're
me,
not Silkwood.
So it made me. I'm looking at this. It made me think about. So this car wash that is refusing to close down, thinking that it's an essential business in Memphis, made me think about the car wash that we used to go to right over here on like Vermont and Prospect. Okay.
Yes.
So maybe they feel they're more essential because they're selling things that aren't just car wash things. Remember that one that we had over here?
That place was insane.
This place was insane. So you'd walk in, you'd go through the car wash, and it's the car
and then
wash.
you
and let
could
it
go inside and watch.
and you watch it
through
through
a
the
window,
things,
and then you
there's
go
like a
into-
massage chair that looks absolutely creepy. There's a video game that a stand-up video game that didn't work.
Never worked.
Never worked. I think
Maybe
like
it never worked even when it was
I
like
think it was
came off the factory line. It seemed like it
put
probably
it
didn't
here.
work.
It looks like we're having fun. Okay, I think it was like Tempest. You go into the main store and they sell. Here's what they sold in the main store. Maybe this is why they think they're in Memphis. Think they're in essential. If they're a car wash like this, here's what they sold. They sold all the car accoutrements. So chargers for your cell phone, of
course.
Different weathered mats in case you don't want to get
Tiger
mud on-
print mats.
Right. Air fresheners for your car. Sure. Okay.
That make the air smell worse.
Right.
Yes.
That make it smell like flavors that you never want to mix.
Red currant and
peppermint.
BO.
That's right. Like vanilla and an Armenian man. I don't want that. I really don't want that in my car at this point. So, but it's all that stuff. And then they sold nice leather dress shoes.
No.
I'm not joking. Italian loafers. Okay. Then they sold Chinese throwing stars. Chinese throwing stars, Jay. And then they sold bongs and all sorts of head shop stuff.
So if that's your one-stop shop, if you
Who are they targeting? Who is the person who goes in to get their car
expensive
washed?
Italian loafers,
Look,
and
I need to
you
get some. I need to put some. We were trying to think of who is the person. Look, I need some nice shoes because I need to confront my ex-girlfriend and her boyfriend. She dumped me in a way that was not. I didn't humiliated me.
Let me get some nice.
I got to get some nice shoes because I don't want to look like I'm not doing well. So I need some nice Italian loafers. You've got those.
Let me get the throwing stars in case things go south.
In case things go south, I can just throw something at his throat. Then
let me get a bong because
I need to take the edge off a little bit
before I go in there.
Let me pick up that 3-foot graphics bong.
So we've solved it.
So we solved it, and I'm getting my car washed, so it looks great. And you know what? Why don't you throw me one of those evergreen sweatpants smelling things?
Give me those, and let me have a size of a payday bar that could feed like 9 people. Let me give me like a 7. Like if a 7-year-old was like, I don't want a birthday cake this year. I just want a payday bar for all these people.
For literally, and we'll cut it
Give
up.
me that, and, and give me a box of cigarettes. Give me the roller skates.
Yep, I'll take the roller skates.
I feel like we're on like
need a
it's like
hatchet.
redneck Wheel of Fortune after we won. Give me.
I'll take a hatchet.
I'll take the porcelain leopard and
give me
the loafer, the Gucci loafers,
the gravity bong.
Give me the Porsche floor mats.
Give me the weed whacker. I'll take the weed whacker.
Give me
all these things.
Give me the iPhone case, the weed
so
whacker.
Maybe if this Memphis car wash had all of that, then they could claim that they're an essential business. But if you are the car wash that we saw, which is closed, by the way, right now, they understand that they're not an essential business.
Yeah, they know.
People don't essentially need Chinese throwing stars unless it's all going to hell in a handbasket, and then you're going to need them, and you're going to need to store them in your nice Italian loafers.
Yes.
That's all we're saying. Guys, this has been great. Good luck. Stay strong out there.
We miss you, Vic Henley. Thank you for all of the great comedy you brought us throughout your life. We will be back tomorrow with another show.
Rate, review, subscribe to this, punch a water faucet, then go wash your hands. We are out.
La-ti-da, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti-da, la-ti-da-da.